All right. Welcome back. Good morning. This is part 5 of our, what are we going to call this? Our exploration into cloning the weather app. I am streaming this back on Twitch um, because streaming to YouTube was fine, but I realized that I actually have a decent amount of replay views, not live views, on Twitch. And I can stream a replay on Twitch, but I don't know, it's complicated and I don't want to go through that effort. And so I'd rather stream it on YouTube or stream it on Twitch, record at the same time so that hopefully I can get rid of the desync issues with the audio, and then upload that to YouTube similarly to how I was doing before. So that's what we're going to do moving forward. Again, you can rewatch these replays, all of the replays of this series at youtube.com/let's build with bits, because I think really the replays on the VODs on Twitch, they're only available for like a week, less than I thought. So if you're interested in this and you want to find previous replays and you're on Twitch but you can't find previous replays, then head over to YouTube and check it out. Anyway, with that being said, let's do a quick recap of what we did in part 4. Part 4, we were focusing on the data models. We took a little bit of a break from the UI implementation and started focusing on some of the weather models, some of the data models that we can pass into a couple of the views that we created, specifically our summary view and our 24-hour, our hourly forecast view. That's what we did. We didn't get to do all of the view models, for instance, the daily forecast view and the entire screen. This whole screen experience, the weather view, is ultimately going to need its own sort of parent model. We haven't done that yet. We will get to that, but I wanted to get back into the UI. I had an itch to do some more UI work, and so we're going to do that. In particular, I might go ahead and just quickly stub these out, but I really want to get into these. Not so much for the individual UI elements within each one of these, but the layout itself. This one is actually going to be pretty interesting. This sort of sinusoidal sunrise, sunset, location of the sun indicator, whatever. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then this radial wind indicator. These are the kinds of things I want to build out today if I can. I've only got maybe about an hour to stream and record, so we'll see how far we can get. Might not be able to get to both of them, but I'm gonna at least start with these two. We'll see. We'll try to get as far as we can. So let's get started. Um, I realized also that the code for this isn't available to anyone yet. I don't know if that's going to be interesting for anyone. I have been committing all of the changes to Git locally. What I can do in the next day or two is upload this to a a public GitHub repo, so that if anybody wants to pull down the code and look at it, play around with it, expand on it, like do whatever, I'll do that, and then I'll post a link in the description, at least on the video on YouTube. I'm still learning how to do that on Twitch, so I don't know. Uh, cool. So again, that out of the way, let's get started. Let's build. Let's work on these two views right now. I'll go ahead and skip these views, although this one's gonna be kind of fun too, working with maps. But let's start with UV index and sunset. I'm gonna do those right underneath the daily forecast view. So let's let's go ahead and do something similar to what we did before in terms of making uh, properties, just computed properties that pass these in, just to get the basic layout and shape, and then we can move those into separate separate view files, um, once they start to grow sort of unwieldy. The first one is UV index. So let's say UV index view. This is going to be some view. And right now, let's return a, this is going to be a stack view, vertical stack view. We've got the title. We've got, I guess, what the index value is, some sort of grading progress indicator, and then like a recommendation, I guess. So let's do that. We've got a VStack, and we've got a couple elements here. We do get to use our nifty little component here. This we might want to generalize. This is used a lot of places in terms of having like a label and a glyph next to it. And so that's something to consider. Anyway, let's do a quick HStack for that. And we're going to have an image with a system name of, that's like the sun, this indicator, which I believe was sun fill. Right? Let's go to SF symbols and just take a look. Sun max fill. Ooh, info looks kind of cool too. Sun max fill. And next to that image, we're going to have a text that says UV index, capitalized. UV index. Let's make that all uppercased. And then underneath it, we're going to have a value that right now it just says 0. Index value. Got another one that's effectively like a rating. Index rating. We have a progress bar underneath it, yes. Yeah. So we've got our progress view. Give it a value of 0. And we will be able to reuse our component that we made for up here. Effectively, it's the range style. We can just make the range the entire width, so that we get this nice like full color track with the tiny little current value indicator. And then, so let's do style, progress view style, to say ranged progress view from 0 to 1. Foreground color, this was going to be our gradient. Right now, let's just do blue. It has to be in any shape. I still wasn't able to figure out how to do that yet, but I'm still on the hunt to see how we can do it without creating a without using the type erased wrapper. And we'll do gray just for now, just to get the layout. And then the recommendation, and then the time. I don't know if these are supposed to be on the same line. I'm going to assume they are. And it's just wrapping. Use sun protection 11 a.m. through 4 p.m. Recommendation. So we can't see this yet, obviously, and that's not great. So under our daily forecast view, let's just go ahead and call our UV index view. And let's see what this looks like so far. It doesn't like this. Value. Oh, it just wanted a color for the background color. Okay. Cool. So yeah, not great. Clearly, we're gonna wrap that in our nice frosted glass, which is I don't think it's quite accurate to the mock. Um, but until we get like an actual background picture, it's going to be really hard to determine what that what that actually should be. So it's good enough just to give contrast for now. And we're gonna give it padding. Let's give it the default padding for now. That's good enough. That looks kind of ugly. Uh, Sweet. Now, the before we like really make this match the mocks, I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna make a similar view here for the what should we call this? The sun tracker view? No. We'll call it the sun tracker view. And I want to do that real quick and then have them lay them out side by side in the overall weather view so that we can start to position the elements within them a little bit easier. So let's make another computed property. We'll call it sun tracker view. We can change the name of that later. I don't love it, but whatever. We've got a very similar style, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. We have a sunset indicator. So in our SF symbols, that's sunrise. Here's sunset. It looks like is it filled? Yep, it's filled. So sunset fill. Sunset fill. I think the title of it is sunset. Yes, it's got a time, 6:45 p.m. 6:45 p.m. This is the time of sunset. It has this very interesting progress view, so that'll be neat to build. And then it's got sunrise, which is here. Use the new smart. I forget what this is called. Smart text. Uh, Basically, like you can grab text from within an image, which is neat on the newer versions of macOS and iOS. And that's right under it. So let's just put that here. Sunrise, time of sunrise. And cool. So now we've got our UV index view and we have our sun tracker view. When we lay them out, they're not going to look great, but that's because they belong in an H stack. So let's put them next to each other and just see what they look like. We might have to do some more. Well, that's actually not terrible. That's actually pretty close. The progress views are pretty ugly. We can do that by explicitly setting the max height. So let's do that. Frame max height. I think we had it at 5. It's not going to matter for that, for the sun tracker, because we're going to have to make something ourselves. Oh, and we're kind of, this is going to be interesting. We'll need to make some modifications to make sure that it doesn't clip the current value dot. We did that. Yeah, we're going to have to make some modifications so it doesn't clip on the left-hand side. Anyway, it looks okay, except that these tiles need to be square. Probably square to the width. So the width and height need to be the same. We can do that by setting their aspect ratio to 1, I believe, on the actual frame itself. So let's see if we can do that. Is aspect ratio here? Okay. Aspect ratio, content mode. Okay, what kind of content mode do we have? I guess fill? And it also takes a value there. So let's do aspect ratio 1.0 fill, 1.0 fill. Sun tracker isn't 1-to-1. I don't think either of them are 1-to-1, honestly. Uh, let's say the, is this a value on H stack? Let's take a look at H stack real fast. We have alignment and we have spacing. It's not really about the alignment per se, especially if it's going to fill. I wonder if it's related to the content mode. What kind of options do we have for content mode? We have fill, which we're currently using, an option that resizes the content so it occupies all available space, both vertically and horizontally. We kind of want that option that revises the content so it's all within the available space, both vertically and horizontally. I don't think that's it, right? If I change these to fit, yeah, it just squashes them down. I actually want them to fill. That's going to really bother me to keep. It's going to bug me to keep doing that. So here's what we're going to do. While we mess with the layout, I'm going to create separate file for at least the UV index. So we'll call this UV index view. Pull it up, weather, and let's grab the UV index view. Let's put it in our body here. Neat. And now in our preview, what I want to do is render 2 of them side by side so that we can kind of play with what the rendering looks like here. It'll be a little bit easier. So let's do that by putting this in an H stack, and we'll put 2 of them next to each other. And we can see that they're not quite, can I select these? They're not quite the same size. Come on. Come on. Yeah, it won't. What is this one? Variance. I don't want to see the variance. I want them to be the same size. They're clearly wider than they are tall. And so let's see how we can work on doing that. I wonder if I have to do it with the frame. No, I don't want to set the frame. I actually want change this view's dimensions to the aspect ratio of the given size. I wonder if it just didn't like that I didn't give it a size. Let's do that. CG size 1-to-1. Then we'll make it fill. That doesn't look right. Yeah, that still doesn't look right. I don't know where these are. Interesting. Let's see. Let's go here and let's say um, Swift UI uh, side by side views same height. Again, hacking with Swift, always a valuable resource. Same size regardless of what they want. Same height, same width by combining a frame modifier with fixed size. There's no need for a geometry reader. That's good. Anytime you're using geometry reader, like you should really question whether or not you actually need it because a lot of times there are modifiers that will um, let you do that without having to need it. The key is to give each view you want to size an infinite maximum height or width, which will automatically make it stretch to fill all the available space. Then you apply the fixed size to the container therein, which tells SwiftUI those views should only take up as much space as they need. Okay. Well, let's do that then. Let's give that a shot. Okay, so this is talking about fixed width. I wonder if we can just combine this and do effectively frame max height infinity, max width infinity, and then fixed size of both. Oh, but they do they do constrain the frame size of the H stack, so I'm curious if this will just make it infinitely tall. We'll find out. So here, let's get rid of aspect ratio, and let's say frame max width of infinity, max height of infinity. On both of those, and then on the H stack, use a fixed size, horizontal true, vertical true. Yeah, still not what we want, surprisingly. Um, hmm, kind of. Okay, maybe we need to search for a different term. Let's say Swift side by side, one-to-one view width and height. Oh man, this looks too complicated. I don't think this is it. Swift UI make view height and width the same. Uh, hmm. This is just talking about making the width and the height of two views the same, which is half of what we want. Let's look up aspect ratio. I like the square. SwiftUI view aspect ratio square. Let's see what this says. Hmm. let's try this. Let's work on just getting one view square at first. So in our HStack one, let's drop this in a scroll view real fast. And we will give it a background color of blue, just so that we can see the bounds of our views frame a little bit better. And what happens if we just give this an aspect ratio of and fill? Yeah, it doesn't like it. I wonder why. Um, let's move this around. Let's see what happens if we add it to the HStack itself. Nope, doesn't like that either. Hmm. Hmm. Oh. Oh, it did like that. Kind of. So it fit everything, but it fitted in a very small frame. Hmm. I wonder why it didn't like that. So what happens now if max width? If I say, yeah, go ahead and be as large as you want. Nope, doesn't like that either. Hmm. I feel like it needs to be fill. I wonder if it's the HStack that's constraining it. So if I pull that out into the scroll view, no, no, it's definitely not that. Hmm. And it's not that it wants the CG size, right? Well, that doesn't seem to make a difference. Hmm. Well, that's really interesting. Hmm. Spacer. Why did they put a spacer there? I guess to shove it up at the top? Let's try something a little bit simpler. Let's just render a rectangle. And let's give it an aspect ratio. 1.0. Let's give the scroll view some padding. So that was fine. That is definitely square. Hmm. I wonder if it has anything to do with any of the padding, the background. Oh, maybe. Excuse me. I wonder if it. Yeah. Let's see. Let's do some more playing around. Because aspect ratio appears to do what I want it to do. So let's render our UV index again. Let's set the aspect ratio to fill. 1.0. Clearly doesn't like that. Uh, let's start to drop some of these. Nope. Uh, hmm. Let's make the background of this red. Hmm. I wonder if it's because I told it not to wrap. Do I have to tell it to wrap? Hmm. Well, it's not about the line limit. What does line limit do? In terms of cap the number of lines that can be displayed. Still, nil means no limit. So I'm saying that I definitely want it to wrap. That's being squished. That's fine. Hmm. Hmm, hmm, hmm. Well, one thing I definitely want this to do is have an alignment of leading. Let's go ahead and do that. And then the frame, why is this not, I don't understand why it's not resizing down. And what happens if I change this to fit? Nothing changes. Okay. Let's uh let's shed some more of these values. Well, actually, let's get rid of those. Let's get rid of you. Hmm. Yeah, it just doesn't want to do any of that. Okay. So if we know that the rectangle is definitely square. What happens if we just say text foo aspect ratio fill, and let's make our background color of this guy green. Hmm. Let's make this a V stack with alignment leading. Let's add two labels in here. Foo, and then a longer text. Charlie, Charlie. Hmm. Okay, let's do this. SwiftUI VStack aspect ratio. I want to see. I was hoping that there'd be an image to see if I'm even looking at something that's relevant. Mm, hmm. Hmm. Oh man, this looks very complicated. I don't feel like it should be this complicated. Hmm. Layout priority. I wonder if I need to specify a layout priority so that, hmm, so it knows which view to expand. No. Hmm. Hmm. No. Man, this is really frustrating. It's such a simple thing that I want to do. I just want to make this H stack grow to fit that aspect ratio. What if I place this on? No. Hmm. What happens if I put in a spacer? Actually force it to grow. Nope. Doesn't like that either. That is definitely not the right aspect ratio. Or is it actually? I mean, is it? Um, hmm. Oh. Oh. That looks like I think that's it. That looks one-to-one. So maybe that was the issue. What does fit do here? Fit does nothing. Okay, so I think the issue is without a spacer, it doesn't know how to, there's no variable, there's no item in here to variably adjust the height to then match the width that it wants to be, if that makes sense. But when I add the spacer, it gives the layout engine or SwiftUI, whatever, a variable to play with and grow and shrink to then match. So that's interesting. Okay, this is helpful. So let's do this then. Let's bring back our UV index view, which I've got a lot of stuff in here that's commented out. With padding and background, and let's get rid of this background now. And if we're going to place these side by side, whoops, in an H stack, like this. How long have we been streaming for? 40 minutes. Still a little too wide than high, but we need to give it a lever to pull. So if we say that, for instance, I believe in our preview, it's the spacing between the UV, line view, whatever. So if we give it a spacer, one, this is going to be like way too big. Like that. And then now, if I tell it to have an aspect ratio of 1, there we go. That looks much better. I believe it's automatically laying out the second one. There we go. Okay. So that's what I learned today. When using aspect ratio, or I guess maybe similar layout mechanisms that require a view to like fit a current size based on another constraint, we need to add something into the view that will allow it to expand and shrink. And in this case, I'm using a spacer. So that's helpful. That's really good to know. We can go back into our weather view now, and one, we can say this is going to be our UV index view. And for our sunset tracker view, we've got that, but get rid of U. With our sunset tracker view, we need to give it a spacer. There we go. That's much better. I'll add another spacer there. Granted, this isn't the type of thing we want, but at least the layout is there. That's generally the layout that we want. So we spent a lot of time on just figuring out how to get these views side by side. So let's see how much more we can do in the next 15 minutes-ish. I'm going to go ahead and extract the sun tracker view out into its own file as well for now. Sun tracker view. So let's put it there. Let's get the actual content of the sun tracker view. Copy it. Paste it in here. And then pull it out. We'll use the sun tracker view. Let's see, does it still lay out correctly? Yep, still lays out good. Let's work on let's work on getting this view nice and pretty. If we look at our mocks, this needs to be, we have a we've got something here. We should, maybe it's worth adding some sort of like font modifier to generalize this, or again, just generalizing that view in general. That's going to help make things consistent as well as um, get rid of a lot of the duplication that we've got, or that we're going to have. And then, so for instance here, like I have to keep going over and looking at, oops, daily forecast. Like it's an H stack, that looks fine. Um, Something tells me that cliff's a little bit too big, uh, but it is what it is. And then for our text, this looks like the color needs to be white. All of these colors probably need to be white, honestly. Let's see if we can get rid of the line limit there. Yeah, that's fine. And then for here, I wonder what that font size and weight is. Let's see. Whoops. Dot font. Dot font. It's definitely not 12. Maybe something like 28. Looks not bad. Whoa, that looks really bad. Why does that look so bad? It looks very pixelated on the edges. Almost aliased. Is that just a funky... Am I just imagining that? Maybe I'm just imagining that. That looks pretty close. Maybe a little bit bigger. Try 32. Maybe even more. 36. Looks fine. Low looks smaller. Maybe on the order of 24. 22. 20. Instead of medium, no. No, definitely not. Are you supposed to be medium? Regular? I think you're just supposed to be regular. You might need to be medium. Looks roughly alright. Then for our recommendation, I'm just going to add some spacing here. I don't need these anymore. I know what they are. You... I guess I can try to measure, right? Oh, 12? How cool would it be if this told me what the font was? That'd be so neat. Apple, if you're listening, give me font details whenever I select text like this. That would be so dope. I'm going to go with that for now. Yeah, I'll go with that for now. I'm trying to think if there's a drop shadow on these, like even the faintest one. I don't think so. Maybe there is. Maybe there isn't. This looks off though. Looks like 40. 39 with 13 points of padding. Eh, that looks close enough. We've got roughly 10 minutes left. I think we can quickly style the sun tracker view in a similar way, and then we can call it, and then I'll come back in the next stream and we can focus on actually building out maybe this view itself. Um, really do a deep dive into that. That'll take probably at least an hour to do. Um, but at least we've got the layout of these tiles done. That was a big one that I wanted to get done. Here, let's do the same H stack, but first, let me paste that so I don't forget it. Text, 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 text. Oh, spacer, spacer. This is really just for readability on my part. Let's add our two H stacks with our super cool aspect ratio that totally works now. Thank you. Whoa, just kidding. Oh no. What has happened? It's not working now. Uh, I wonder what happened. How is this different? Now we've run into a different set of issues. I wonder if that's because, I mean, in our UV index, that's in a scroll view, right? Yep. Is that what makes a difference? Does the scroll view matter here? Oh my gosh, it does. Oh, SwiftUI. There's so many little things like that. Like I need to get better at understanding like what the rules are here. Like those little things to remember in terms of like, oh yeah, if it's in a scroll view, then this is what the layout will do. If it's not in a scroll view, if it's just in an H stack, then here's what the layout will do. It's not clear to me right now. This sunrise is probably very similar to what we had in the UVNX view, which was 12. Let's see. Our mock. Yeah, that looks roughly the same. Could be our nice sinusoid. I can't help but think there's just some subtle like drop shadow or outline to this. This just looks too flat. Um, maybe that's because let's zoom to 100%. Yeah, it just looks too flat, and also that looks grainy. I don't know. Let's do just a quick shadow. I think we had. Nope, not on you. That looks better, honestly. Yeah, it looks better. Same up here. Like everything gets a shadow. shadow all the things just by the smallest amount. Okay, neat. Now let's look at our weather view, see what it looks like. Not bad. Too much padding up here on the top. What do we do for that in the daily forecast? Looks like just 10 points of padding. Yeah. Ugh. Looks like it's not enough. At least on the side there. Let's see. Eh, not bad. Let's run it. Let's run in the simulator. It's not terrible. It's still not ideal. So if we pull up our mock-up and let's scale this back down. Fit, and let's get our simulator up here next to it. Okay. Trying to position this so it's just zoom it to view actual size. No, not actual size. Oh, whatever. That's close enough. Yeah, there's definitely some spacing that we can polish. This top spacing looks decent. It just need a little bit more on the side here. This goes edge to edge, so that's something we'll need to change. We shouldn't add padding the to this view itself. We need to add padding to the individual elements within it. This looks a little thinner than this one. And again, something about the rendering of this, it looks blurry. In fact, they all look blurry. Maybe that's just my screen. Let me run this on my phone and see what it looks like. Just see what it looks like in the flesh. And let me pull up the. Okay, here's what it looks like here. Okay, it looks much better on my phone. Honestly, the the rendering here isn't doing it justice, so it must be something related to my screen or the output, at least on the phone here, but or in QuickTime. It does look much better on my phone. Anyway, even and now the drop shadow looks just a little bit too much on my phone. Also, we'll need to figure that something else out there. Um, cool. Well, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it here. Um, we got we got a lot of what I wanted to cover done in terms of just getting the spacing of this of these two views done, um, and making sure that they size correctly. And the next one we can actually dive into the more interesting part of these two views in terms of the sinusoidal sun tracker element. I think that'll be a lot of fun to do, and I'm definitely going to learn a lot from that. Uh, so that's it. Again, I'm gonna upload this into YouTube. If you want to follow, subscribe, do any of that stuff, leave a comment. Again, if I'm doing something that I could be doing better, people that know, if there's something that you want to see differently, if there's any sort of feedback you want to give me, please leave me a comment. Other than that, I'll talk to you later. Thank you.